G'day, welcome to Primary Survey. My name is Ben and I'm just going to give you a bit of a website tour. So as I've kind of explained through the podcasts and a couple of the posts that we've done online, Primary Survey is a bit of a passion project for me, typical passion project sort of speech. But look, what it is I did university. I struggled hard because I'm a mature age student. I do not learn well from textbooks and things like that. I need to actually do the job to be able to learn. I need to understand what I'm doing. I need to basically, put things into action. I can't just be like, all right, learning a mnemonic, learning nexus criteria. It's spine is the mnemonic, and it's spinal midline tendinous, painful, distracting injury. See, that sort of thing, I can get one or two down. Otherwise I can't. So I need to understand that, what we're looking for there is spinal midline tendinous, kind of obvious. So if we've got some tenderness there, it's painful. There's probably an injury. Painful, distracting injury, obviously that's going to distract us from that midline tenderness. Intoxication, because it's going to dull those feelings, and CNS depress, and that's it's going to mask the other symptoms. So as you can see, it's all about learning the rationale behind all these things for me. So what I did was I created some resources. I've got some resources here that I've chucked together. Unfortunately, I'm not a coder or a developer, and this is why I'll dive into it real quick now. This is why there is a subscription to the website, because it's all AI based. It's a fine-tuned, specifically trained AI model that I use, that I've set up myself, and it costs me money every time someone sends a message to or receives a message from the artificial intelligence. So that's why there is a fee associated with it, and any leftover money from that will go into further development, because I'd love to get a web developer on board or an app developer or something and really make this a thing. As you'll see in a second when we dive into the simulator, it's pretty cool, but it's basic and it's a proof of concept, and someone that knows what they're doing could do so much better than what I'm doing. So with that said, look, basic website. It's got, where's my mouse? There it is. Got an about section. It just talks about me, my journey, the website, all that sort of jazz. Education is coming soon. What it will be is, I'm hoping, again, if we can make a little bit of money, and excuse the pie picture. I was planning on actually putting a picture of the simulator there, but I haven't had time. If we can get some funds together, I'd love to actually invest in like a Moodle or a actual learning management system, and get some proper courses done, just like university, and have some quizzes and things like that. And I mean, we don't want to be our own university, but I certainly want to have that stuff up there, all referenced, all, high quality training materials. And that is coming soon. It is going to happen. It's just a case of actually getting to that point of getting there. So I would love to get that going as soon as possible. Excuse me 1 second. I'm just going to pull up a quick PDF here. What I've been making in the meantime are these sort of fact sheets. So for example, this one's sepsis. It's got a quick description of what sepsis is, and then it goes through the typical vital signs that we're going to see. So you're going to have heart rate increased, you're going to have oxygen decreased or normal. And then, because, as I say, I don't learn from just knowing the things, I actually need to understand them. So I've said, all right, why have we got an increased heart rate? We're compensation for the poor perfusion. I don't have much space here, so I can't put a huge description in. What I'll probably do is do a second page with a bit more information on how things are happening. Oxygen decrease, because we've got hypoperfusion, so we're not perfusing very well. So we're going to see our SATs decrease, and that ties into the hypertension, because you've got capillary permeability. So we've got that capillary leak, we've got that fluid shift, and we've got the vasodilation. So it's going to bring the blood pressure down. Things are going to move a bit more slowly and not as efficiently. And look, I go through all of the vitals. I don't need to do them now. You can have a read of these yourself. These will go up very soon, and I'll have one for, pretty much everything that QAS have a CPG for. And then I'll start going through all our other conditions that they don't have specific CPGs for, and sort of some differential ones. So looking at, if this, then that sort of thing. Down the bottom, we've got our treatment pathway. So obviously we're doing our primary survey, secondary surveys, which are obviously vitals and RESPs and things like that, neuro. And then we'll go our treatment down here, supportive cares and symptomatic treatment. some of them, obviously things like asthma, will look slightly different because we're going to look at things like bronchodilators. Meningococcal will obviously go into like ceftriaxone, so we're looking at the specific treatments there. But things like sepsis and a lot of other treatments are going to be supportive cares. So we've got the box over here where we say, if this, then that, if this, then that, if this, then that. And then you're going to have to refer to your CPGs on actually, what you're going to be doing there. Because obviously you're not just going to give paracetamol, you're going to give paracetamol 1 gram. You're going to check the indications and the contras as well. So it's going to be all about taking a bit of responsibility for the extra learning, but this will show the treatment pathways. I can't put, this one's not too hard. It's going to always be 1 gram, but I can't put, paracetamol 1 gram, because if Ambulance Tasmania for some reason has 500 milligrams of paracetamol for fevers, that's up to you to know. So I'm not going to actually put doses on here. I'm going to put treatments. So that's the basics. I'm hoping to have the first batch of them up in the next week or so. I am, unfortunately, I've got a sick family member, so I need to fly down to Canberra in about 45 minutes. So I've got to be quick here. But I will, once I get back, I will get them finished and get them uploaded. Wellbeing at the moment on the website is literally just a placeholder screen. We will be putting things like the peer support network in here and things like that. And then similarly, the community section does have a forum, but it's very basic and there's nothing there yet. So I will, by all means, get something set up there soon. The bread and butter of the website, and unfortunately where you're going to need a subscription, is the simulators. So these are all AI powered, and they're OSCE is the job simulator one. The job interview one is obviously the hot topic at the moment. So it's literally a case of hit new question. It's going to throw out a question. It does take a few seconds at the moment. It's got a really slow connection to the thing, but by all means, I'll try and improve that over time. And again, as I say, they're all under development. They're all stuff I'm building. So look here, I'm going to run through this real quick because, as I say, I got to catch a flight, and I was hoping to have these up yesterday, but as it is what it is. Hate that saying. So absolutely, we've got a new question. Absolutely, let's begin with a behavioural question. Can you tell me about a time when you've had to make a difficult decision in a high pressure situation? Please share the situation and task you were faced with, the action and result. So obviously we're looking at the STAR format here. Off the top of my head, difficult decisions in a high pressure situation. I'm going to use a clinical one from placement. Of course, whilst on placement with I attended a mental health case where the patient had made some vague threats to a government agency. The agency noticed that the patient had carried out part of these threats. Threats to and self-harm in certain circumstances to an agency. The circumstances had been met. So basically, she'd said she was going to kill herself, do X, Y, Z, and then kill herself. So the X, Y, Z had been done. We were called to assess the patient and located them a short time later. On locating the patient, they presented quite well and were open to a long discussion about their circumstances. I used extensive communication skills and showed empathy and compassion to build rapport, and then used this rapport to discuss rapport and trust. Suicidal ideations. The patient was very forthcoming and open with me, allowing me to let the comments. The discussion would not justify me placing them on an emergency examination order. Authority. I put some supports in place using the mental health services we had available, including such as follow-ups for the next day, and left the patient with advice and contact details for support services. A very challenging decision based on the facts, but ultimately allowed the patient autonomy and freedom with their health, and avoided sending them to the emergency department. It was a positive outcome. Alright, so basically I've said I had a case. We had a government agency call us because the patient had said that in the event that this happened, they would do this and then go kill themselves. We've arrived, we've located that patient, we've had a long chat to them, and I couldn't justify an EEA. So I've used the co-responder program and a couple of other support services to put supports in place to support that patient throughout the night, and then follow up obviously over the next few days. I couldn't justify the EEA, and that was a tough decision, high pressure situation. So we'll see what comes back of that. So we'll just submit that. Obviously I'm rushing through this at the moment just based on time, and obviously you guys don't want to sit and watch me type out 2 hours of talking. Error sender using answer. So unfortunately that can happen. What we'll do is we'll just try and copy and paste it. I'm not sure why that's happening. Copy, we'll just try it again, paste, and see what comes back. If it's an error again, then I will just jump into the other ones and I'll get that one fixed up. I can obviously do a lot of this on, there we go. So again, if we do have those errors, please report them, feedback@primarysurvey.com.au, and that's good. So our response was, thank you for sharing that experience. It demonstrates capacity to handle sensitive situations with respect and compassion, which are core values of QAS. You have clearly outlined the situation and task. The action was well explained, showing clinical judgment and communication. The result was also positive, with the patient's well-being considered and supports in place. To strengthen your response further, it would be helpful to hear more about your decision-making process. What specifically led you to believe that an emergency examination authority was unnecessary in this case? This will give us more insight into your clinical reasoning skills. So, awesome. It's asked a follow-up question. You reply to that with what you've got. I'm not going to do it now just based on time. The preferences button doesn't work, history button doesn't work at the moment, and the more feedback button just asks for more feedback. Once you've satisfied the question, it will give you a new one. And yeah, obviously you can go through as long as you want and go nuts. Viva Voice or Voice Viva is very much the same. You hit new question. I need to change that button to green to keep the skeins. Primary assessment steps. Oh, that's a pretty shitty question, but that's fine. Primary assessment. Primary assessment does not change. Does not change between cases, only when the patient is conscious or not. It is always danger response. Airway, breathing, circulation, visibility, and exposure, where a patient is unconscious. Circulation comes before airway and breathing in a cardiac event. That's fine. So again, it's going to give some pretty brutal feedback. It is set up to be really, really harsh, just like a uni assessment. So yeah, as we see, your statement is somewhat accurate as the overall approach remains consistent. However, the specific order of the primary assessment steps I mentioned is incorrect. Okay, this is news to me. In the primary assessment of a patient, the proper sequence is danger response, airway, breathing, circulation, disability. Exposure is also important, but comes after the doctor's A, B, C, D, E. Okay. It is crucial to remember that the assessment order should prioritize life-threatening issues. If the patient is unconscious and not breathing, airway and breathing take precedence over. That's interesting because I've always been taught pulse check. I'll check on this and do some feedback, because I've always been taught if the patient's not breathing, unresponsive, we do a pulse check and then dive into CPR rather than doing airway and breathing, because obviously we want to get that circulation going. Airway management is critical. Once an airway is established or confirmed, breathing should be assessed. So look, I will check that and do some more training with the AI if that's not correct, which I'm pretty sure that's not correct, and that's why I've got this here. Pretty embarrassing to throw that out there and get one that's incorrect straight away. But again, if you suspect something's incorrect, email it through feedback. You can do screenshots, copy pastes, whatever. I'll set up a button so that it logs it all and sends it through. But yeah, we can go through as many of them as you want. They are generally quite brutal on feedback, and it tries to find things that are wrong, which is not ideal. I want to give positive and constructive feedback. But anyway, the bread and butter is the OSCE simulator, and I am rushing through just based on time. So you hit new scenario, it's going to throw up a scenario there. You're called to a 35-year-old female with nausea and vomiting. On arrival, what is my windscreen survey? So this is basically you go to and fro. It will give you vitals. It will give you everything. It'll respond to treatment. It does have a tendency to throw up an end scenario feedback. You can ignore that and just keep running through. Otherwise, if you click end scenario at the end, it will do that. Ignore this stuff. It's used by the monitor. It should pass it out and take it out of there, but sometimes it doesn't. Cool. Hello, it's Ben and Steve from the ambulance. What's happening? So again, if you put it in quotation marks, it takes it as a talking. If you're not, then it takes it as you're asking a question, and it'll go like that. So in this case, we've been called to a 35-year-old female, nausea and vomiting. On arrival, windscreen survey is and it tends to confuse windscreen survey with general appearance. The patient, a 35-year-old female, appears pale and sitting upright on the couch, holding a basin close by. She appears anxious and is breathing slightly faster than usual. I've said, hello, it's Ben and Steve from the ambulance. What's happening? The patient responds, I've been feeling really nauseous and have been vomiting for the past few hours. I can't seem to keep anything down. So what we can do is we can hit assessments. We can hit assessments. Oh man. We can hit assessments. It's not working. That's a pain in the ass. We should be able to hit assessments, but it's not working. So let's go. Let's just dive over here real quickly. So we should be able to hit assessments, and that should bring up a second window there. So I'm just going to publish the site again because for some reason that's not working. And I'm going to refresh this, but it's probably why it's not working because I didn't do a refresh before we did it. So hit new scenario. It's probably going to give us another nausea and vomiting one. Watch. There we go. And assessments is working now. It's easy when things are working, isn't it? All right, so it is a 35-year-old female with nausea and vomiting. I'm not sure why it keeps giving us the same one. So what you do is you'd hit vital signs survey. It gives it a few seconds, and then this will disappear, and you've actually got a monitor there. So, hello, it's Ben and Steve from the ambulance. Woo, what's happening? So we haven't done our primary survey, so we should get feedback about that. Each message, this stuff will update. So we'll see 98%, 100 BPM, and 120 on 80 blood pressure. And then it does tend to want to see approaching my patient and speaking with them. it does like to see the systematic approach before it dives in. That's no good. Can you tell me? Do you think something? So yeah, we basically roll through it. It will respond to treatment. It will this monitor should update with each message that comes back from the AI, and it'll go through. So in this case, look, I'm not going to run through it because I am super short on time, but basically what we'd likely do is give her some on-dan, see if she wants to go up to hospital or stay and go that. It does praise you and go down the path. It does like to be, patients where clinically appropriate to be left at home, but obviously it's also happy for patients to go with us. But look, that's a quick website tour. You've also got your preferences screen there, which that button doesn't work at the moment, but this preferences button here does. And you've got you can select all the different case types you want, hit save and then go to simulator. And same for the Voice Viva. The Voice Viva one is not working at the moment because it needs to be expanded significantly. So I haven't actually set it up, but I will hopefully get that done in the next week or two. Any questions, by all means, email them through. You can get me at the info@Primary Survey or the feedback@primarysurvey.com.au. Otherwise, the podcast, or there's Facebook groups and everything like that. So get involved. Definitely be a part of everything. And look, I hope you enjoy everything. Any questions, let me know. And thanks for your time. Cheers. Stay safe out there.